Today is Wednesday, August 26th, and I am here yet again with my two best plays for today's MLB slate. My name is Logan, otherwise known as Betz. We went 0-2 on some pretty bad hooks on Monday. I took yesterday off just because I am prepping for the NFL season. There's a lot of things that go behind the scenes getting me ready to attack the slate week one aggressively. So MLB videos might either be shorter or sparser as we get to the NFL season, but I'm still grinding out here. I got 5 plays in the Discord, but 2 that I'm going to share in today's video, and we'll go over the full MLB slate because I do think there is some pretty good value on today's board. Let's start off with today with a pitcher that we don't back too often, but I think the situation really dictates that he needs to go incredibly deep today, and that's Landen Roupp over 16.5 outs. Minus 107 on DraftKings, 1.07 units. This is bumped to 17.5 since I posted it last night. I'm completely fine with that for 0.75 units or a 1 unit. You might even be able to get some pretty decent live lines on this as well. Now, we look at Landen Roupp this season, and no, he's not covering this line in a ton of games. I mean, it's about 50-50. At home, it's been slightly fine as well. What stands out to me when it comes to Landen Roupp is when he gets a non-top 5 matchup, when he faces a team that isn't a demigod. He's going into the 6th inning this season in 11 of 15 games. Now, he often gets pulled in the middle of the 6th inning. He has in his last 3 starts, including some weird pitch counts between 85 to 90. But that's not why I like this read that much. The reason why I like this read so much is that yesterday we saw Adrian Houser get hurt, and on Monday, Carson Weisenhunt got hurt as well. So back-to-back starters for the Giants have gotten hurt. And they have an unusual 4-game series coming up versus the Diamondbacks. They play Thursday, Friday, but then they play a doubleheader on Saturday, then an off day on Sunday, which means they're going to have to use that bullpen a lot on Saturday and at least have it somewhat ready for that day. And right now, the bullpen is destroyed. Back-to-back-to-back, high-volume days from the pen, from high-leverage relievers. Their one long-inning reliever, Molina, who often comes in when a starter is struggling. He was used yesterday because of the emergency to Weisenhunt. I just think that they're going to have to stretch Roupp to the farthest he can possibly go today. I'm expecting 90-plus pitches from him and maybe even a season-high 100-plus pitches today. The Reds don't scare me offensively, one of the lowest batting averages. They got a really good situation yesterday to win in a game that Houser left early, and they scored 0 runs. Molina in relief, just like as a last-second relief guy, came in and pitched really, really well. 3-1 yesterday. They lost 0-5 on Monday when Weisenhunt got hurt, and then yesterday when Houser got hurt, Molina went through 4.1 innings and 52 pitches. If Roupp can even replicate some type of what Molina did in emergency yesterday, I think he absolutely shoves. I absolutely love this price that we're getting at 16.5 and 17.5. Give me Landen Roupp over 16.5 and 17.5 outs. Another pitcher that I have loved betting on last season, haven't had many opportunities to bet on this season, but if you look at the graph, you'll be wondering why we're not targeting this in a different way. And I promise there's a reason for it. We're actually going to be targeting Bryan Woo under 5.0 hits allowed. Now, I've done this before several times with strikeout props. This is a push line, okay? We're basically saying if Woo gets exactly 5 hits, we break even on the bet. That's how I structured it in the units below, right here. You can do this on Hard Rock, DraftKings, and Novig. On DraftKings, it's going to be 5 or fewer or 4 or fewer in the alt lines for hits allowed. So make sure you do that. If you don't have an option to bet under 5.5 hits allowed for Bryan Woo, I recommend just betting under 4.5 hits allowed for 0.75 units. Now, why do I love this read so much? Well, because Bryan Woo has been absolutely a demon at home this year. We talked about how awful he is on the road, 5.96 ERA. We faded him a few times. But at home this season, he has completed 6 innings in every single game with a 1.96 ERA, and his OPS of .468 is one of the lowest in baseball by a pitcher at home. So now we're looking at this and we're going, well, why the heck aren't we just taking over 17.5 outs with? This doesn't make any sense. Well, in his last start versus Houston, he got through 6 innings in just 75 pitches, but he left the game early with shoulder discomfort and then got his next start skipped. So it's actually been 10 days since he's pitched. Now, the starters for the next series for the Mariners aren't 100% confirmed yet. There is a slight possibility that Emerson Hancock comes in and they run a piggyback here in Seattle because Bryan Woo missed his last start and he's dealing with an injury and they want him to be ready for a late playoff push. So I think Bryan Woo could have if he gets pulled early here, this is going to be free. If he goes only 4 or 5 innings in this game, I'm not even worried this is going to be sweat-free. I understand the Phillies have been pretty good, but they have struggled against elite starting pitchers like Cam Schuttler and Sandy Alcantara this month. But Bryan Woo at home, he's only given up over 6 hits in just 2 games this season against the Giants and the Royals. Otherwise, it's not really close. I expect him to absolutely shove today against Philly. I think Philly does have some issues against those top-tier fastball slider combos, and I think that Bryan Woo might go through this game only giving up 2 or 3 hits. We might not even needing this push line. You might be able to just cash your bet at 4.5. I really like Bryan Woo today. Even if he doesn't have a leash and he goes 100 pitches, I still love this line at home. Give me Bryan Woo under 5.0 hits allowed. And that's my card for today. I have 3 other plays in the Discord. We're going to talk about some of those. But as always, let's take a look at the weather. And the weather is actually pretty good today. Now in Arizona and Sacramento, it is super, super, super hot, and in Los Angeles as well. Arizona obviously isn't that big of a deal because of the air conditioning. But I want you to keep in mind this Athletics and Twins game and this Angels Guardians game. I think both games could have a super high run total, and pitchers, all 4 of those pitchers in those games might go under their outs lines. I'm especially going to Sacramento, and I am looking at Connor Prelip, who doesn't have a lot of experience throwing in high temperatures, and if it gets to 95 plus today in a stadium that doesn't benefit lefties and is a short, just home run launch pad, I think Connor Prelip under 16.5 outs might end up being absolutely free. And then if we go to Cleveland and Los Angeles, I think Grayson Rodriguez under 16.5 outs. He's just so inconsistent. You never know when he's going to go off or be terrible. The odds say take the under, but you never know. But Joey Cantillo would be interesting if it wasn't for the weather. I'd be interested in his 6.5 strikeouts, but do not be surprised if either of them get pulled at about 60, 70 pitches with heat exhaustion. This is the part of the year that we do see that. We saw it a few times in Kansas City and St. Louis this season. So just keep that in mind. If it does happen, don't say, oh, the books are rigged. It's going to be 95 to 100 degrees there. It's going to be bad. Let's start with the slate, though. There's no rain I'm really worried about today. Let's look at Peralta and Troy Melton. Now, I would normally be all over Troy Melton in a matchup like this to go 6 innings. But back-to-back games against the Sox and the Royals, I thought he didn't pitch very well. And the common theme with both of those games is that they had seen him already this season. Troy Melton has one of those pitch mixes and is one of those types of players that if you do see him again, you do have an advantage. Ray saw him earlier this year. I'm probably staying away just because of that, but I would not be surprised if Troy Melton absolutely shoves today. As for Peralta, I think I love his under 16.5 outs here. The Tigers have been drawing long at bats. Their offense has been not great, but they have been knocking starting pitchers out earlier than you think they would. I don't think the Tigers are making the playoffs, but I think under 16.5 outs for Peralta could be good. Kevin Cash does not like it. His leash is just so weird with the Rays so far. Matthew Boyd versus Eduardo Rodriguez. Give me that over 2.5 earned runs for Matthew Boyd. I really like that, or the Arizona Diamondbacks over 3.5 team total in this game. We've mentioned it a few times. They're just demons versus lefties. And you give me a lefty in Arizona, that's even better. I have to dive into it a little bit more. But historically, the Diamondbacks against lefties at home have been one of the best teams in baseball, just across any form of split. Not like Matthew Boyd in his last few starts in August. In August, in 4 starts, he is giving up a 6.12 ERA. Giving up like 3 homers every 9 innings. It just hasn't been good. I don't care that Ketel Marte's not here. I love Matthew Boyd's over 2.5 earned runs or is under 17.5 outs. The Reds and the Giants game, I'm slightly interested in Lodolo's over 15.5 outs. it's a slight lean. The Giants' offense is just not great. They've kind of overperformed in the last 2 games by scoring 8 combined runs. So I was on Paul Skeens over 1.5 walks yesterday. Apparently everyone on Earth was on that as well. Everyone was targeting it, and he kind of diced up the Padres. But he had a lot of 3-ball counts. I think Bubba Chandler could easily go over his 1.5 walks here. The Padres do draw a lot along at bats. However, Paul Skeens gets more chases than Bubba Chandler does. Bubba Chandler has a lot of non-competitive pitches, so I like his over 1.5 walks here. And then as for Randy Vasquez, his leash is a little bit weird. I don't think he goes super deep into this game. So it's under 5.5 hits allowed against a Pirates offense that is dog water. I don't mind that at all. Sonny Gray, I'm waiting to see if we could maybe get a playable 17.5 outs line for Gray here. If I do, like if it gets to like minus 160, minus 170, I might end up pulling the trigger. All he does is go 6 innings, and after an extra inning game yesterday, I would not be surprised if he has to throw 90-plus pitches in this game. Marlins pitches per plate appearance, it's been pretty good all season, the 3rd lowest in baseball versus right-handed pitching. And then I do have an official play on Ryan Gusto, but I will keep that in the Discord. Matt Waldron was my GOAT in 2024. He has not done anything since. If you don't know, he is one of the only knuckleballers in all of baseball. The Rockies had some problems against him. He went 5 innings against them earlier this year, but then the Rockies, 3rd time through the order, absolutely walloped him. He is opening today for the Nationals. I don't know what his leash is going to be. I lean the over 5.5 outs, though, for him. That could end up being sweat-free, but I'm mostly staying away from this game entirely with Tanner Gordon on the other side. Peter Lambert, I expect to absolutely shove today. I love his under 4.5 hits allowed against the Yankees, or him to go 6 innings. I like Lambert a lot. I think he's gotten a bad rap this year. I just wish there was more opportunities for me to target him. Royals and the Blue Jays. I do have an official play on this game, so I will move on. Dustin May against Robert Stock. I kind of like the Mets in this game. If Dustin May can't figure out what happened against the Mariners, I mean, Dustin May could absolutely shove in this game, or he could absolutely collapse. His variance is just so high that I'm just kind of staying away from him entirely altogether, unless there's a crazy low line, which 15.5 is a pretty low line considering he was getting 17.5 outs every game with Milwaukee. So it could be a little bit of overreaction. We're also seeing that his 4.5 Ks dropped pretty low as well. If that gets to near plus value, and William Contreras starts, and we get a favorable lineup against the Mets, you could see me betting of Dustin May over 4.5 Ks prop. It's in the realm of possibilities. Dodgers and the Braves. Sasaki, I love his over 4.5 Ks in this matchup. Just keep in mind the Braves are one of the better teams versus that splitter. But I don't think it matters. I think Sasaki could still shove in this game. And then AJ Smith-Shawver, I do like him a lot. I like his over 14.5 outs in this game. I was on Bryce Elder's over 15.5 outs yesterday, and that ended up being pretty sweat-free. I don't mind this against the Dodgers. Just keep in mind he does have a pretty short leash. He's gotten pulled at 69 and 75 pitches in the middle of the 5th inning in the last 2 games. But before that 5th inning against the Twins, he was really, really shoving. I do have an official play in this game. I'll briefly just say I like Gore and Burke in this game. I think they both could have a good outing. I like the under 4.5 first 5 runs. Orioles and the Cardinals. Michael McGreevy's over 1.5 walks. I have interest in. The Orioles have been one of the higher walk teams in baseball this season. It's been a little bit down in the last few games, but they haven't faced a lot of high walk pitchers. And McGreevy is starting to become that with his leash. I think Pete Alonso is going to get a walk today for sure. I think you just need one more guy. I really like Michael McGreevy over 1.5 walks. And we mentioned it. I like Connor Prelip's under outs. But if you want to fade JT Ginn's outs, I'm completely fine with that as well. Twins offense was a little disappointing yesterday. But I do think they could bounce back today. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. I like doing these videos. I enjoy them with y'all. I apologize for the rough stretch in August. I try to be as open about it as possible, especially inside the Discord. Taking accountability, but also knowing that that's just baseball sometimes. I feel like everyone's had some really high variance in August, but I'm not losing any confidence. I'm still going. I'm still playing what I like. Just adjusting, tweaking things where I can. And I'm hoping September is going to be amazing for us while we attack the NFL slates as well. So let's have a profitable Wednesday, and I'll catch y'all tomorrow. Have a good one, guys.